Hi everyone, it's Vicki from Minerva and welcome to our Fabric Masterclass series. So this video series is designed to complement the Minerva Fabric Guide, which is the ultimate reference guide to learn all about fabrics, especially for dressmaking. So the guide covers everything from, understanding the fundamental properties of fabric through to all about different fibres and of course, what you can make with different fabrics. And then in the last chapter of the guide, we cover 70 of the most popular basecloths, which each of them actually come with a physical swatch of fabric, so you can get hands-on learning, as you work your way through the guide. If you are interested in purchasing a copy for yourself, we have them in stock available now at Minerva and we can ship them out worldwide. And, it really is, an invaluable resource for anyone looking to learn more about your fabrics, to help you in your sewing journey. So in this masterclass video series, myself and Jo, who you'll probably know from the channel, we have filmed 2 videos to go with each of the 70 basecloths featured in the fabric guide. So we're going to work through the guide alphabetically. And in today's videos, we're going to be taking a deep dive into gauze fabrics. So in my video today, we're going to be looking at some of the gauze fabrics that we sell here at Minerva. I've got a whole pile selected to show you, and then we'll be looking at the differences between them. And then I've also got a whole bunch of pattern suggestions to give you lots of ideas on the sorts of styles that you can sew with gauze, and also some specific patterns as well, just to give you lots of inspiration. And then in Jo's video that's going to be coming to the channel later today, Jo's going to be guiding you through on how to sew with gauze fabric, with lots of hints and tips, as Jo's videos are always packed with. And she's also going to be sharing some community maker inspiration from the Minerva website as well, so you can see what other people have been making with this fabric, and just give you even more ideas for what you could make as well. So let's get stuck in. So like I say, in the last chapter of the guide, we cover 70 basecloths, and each basecloth gets a 2-page spread all about it. This one is all about gauze. So let's take a look at what gauze fabric is first. And let me hold out one of the samples that I've got here to share with you as we're chatting just generally about gauze fabric to start with. There we go. So gauze fabric is a woven fabric. We've rated it difficulty-wise, we've rated it 3 out of 5 hearts. So it's not a particularly difficult fabric to sew, but there are things to take into account when sewing it. You would treat it in certain ways a little bit different to other fabrics. And that's what Jo will be covering in her video. So, make sure you check that out later today. So gauze fabrics are typically made from cotton. But you can also find them in other fibres like linen and viscose, for example. So gauze is a fine, translucent fabric, and it has a very loose, open kind of weave. Gauze sometimes comes with quite a crinkled, textured sort of finish. That really, the crinkledness really kind of adds a wonderful textural element to this fabric. It's one of the characteristics I think is most loved about gauze fabric. And importantly, you can get gauze fabric as a single layer gauze, as well as double layer and even triple layer gauze. Now, I would say double cotton gauze is absolutely the most common you will find, and triple gauze and single gauze is definitely less common. So what double, triple, single gauze means basically. So a double gauze simply means that a fabric that is made from 2 layers of single gauze fabric have been stitched together to create one fabric. So this one that I'm holding up here, for example, is a double gauze. And if you look at the very edge of the fabric, like you could actually pull those 2 fabrics apart. I mean, you wouldn't get, very far with it unless you really struggled against it, because they are invisibly stitched together. But if you look at the very edge, you can see that it's actually 2 layers of fabric that have been really cleverly stitched together to create just one fabric. And that's quite, you wouldn't really find that commonly in other types of fabric at all. Gauze fabrics, the double and triple cotton gauzes, are very kind of on their own in that, and it's a a unique sort of point about the fabric. Now triple gauze, so that's just the same thing, but with 3 layers instead of 2. So that's obviously going to give you a thicker fabric. So with double and triple gauze, the layers are held together at regular intervals throughout the fabric with tiny little stitches. And what that does is it leaves a suggestion of sort of air that's trapped between them, and that results in the handle that you get with gauze fabric. So it has a lightweight, airy kind of feel to it, which I'll describe a little bit in more detail as we go through the samples that I've got to show you today. Now, in the guide itself, we do also talk about weight, opacity, drape, stretch, washing instructions, recommended needle. We cover lots of sewing tips. And we also talk about what you can make with gauze fabric, which really is what, my video today is focused on. So gauze fabrics suit a more relaxed style of garment that have, a good amount of ease, as gauze, it's generally too soft and light and airy for kind of fitted structured garments. So think things like tops, tunics, billowy blouses, swishy skirts, and dresses, and they're all good options for gauze, which suits a crinkled, lived-in kind of look. It's not a polished kind of smart looking fabric, I would say. It definitely has a relaxed, lived-in kind of vibe to it. So let's take a look at the fabrics next. Like I say, I've got a few options to share with you that are all slightly different. So this first one I've got, this is our regular kind of cotton, double gauze fabric. So this is a Minerva core range, cotton double gauze. It comes in a phenomenal amount of colours, so whatever colour you're looking for, I'm sure we'll have it in our range here at Minerva. So this one is made from 100% cotton, so it's beautifully soft and breathable, perfect for the summer months because it's going to be lovely and breathable. It's 130 centimetres or 51 inches wide approximately, and the weight on this one is 135 GSM or grams per square metre, which puts it in our light to medium weight category here at Minerva. Now the other property with gauze is it's one of those fabrics that I think people associate with summer sewing, and yeah, I totally get that. It's with it being cotton, it's breathable, it's it's light to medium weight, all the sort of tick boxes that you would think of with a summery fabric. But actually, because of the double layer and the air that can be trapped between those layers, it does actually work really well as a transitional fabric as well. So it's not going to be something that keeps you super warm, in the freezing winter months. But, in the transitional seasons, it's spring and autumn when, it's perhaps not, it's not boiling hot, but it's not absolutely freezing either. Gauze is a fantastic option. So it really is a very wearable, fabric that you can just, we can wear it lots of times of the year. It's very, very versatile. So yeah, the other thing that I spoke about from the guide as well is the texture that often comes with gauze fabrics, and hopefully you'll be able to see that on screen with this fabric. It has the most wonderful, irregular, crinkly, textured kind of surface. It's so yummy, it's gorgeous. I mean, I love a textured fabric, and gauze is just fabulous for its texture. And hopefully you can see when I sort of hold this fabric out, because of the weight of the fabric, it's light to medium weight, and because it's cotton, it does have a lovely softness to it. I wouldn't say it is very drapey, it is not like, you don't get the drape like you would with, like, say, a viscose chalet fabric or, like a bamboo knit fabric, something like that, because of that cotton fibre content. But because it is billowy and airy and soft, it's not stiff and structured either. So again, cotton gauze, it's a fabric all on its own, really. It's got a different feel to most other types of fabric. And hopefully, really, that's where my video can come in and help you today when we start looking at actual specific patterns that I think are great for this fabric as well. So yeah, so that's the first option. And our kind of regular, everyday, double cotton gauze fabric. So the next fabric I've got to share with you, this one is actually a triple cotton gauze. So all the ones I've got to share with you are either double or triple cotton gauze. Like I say, you can get single cotton gauze, which is just a very fine, open weave fabric, which, are far less common really. If you're looking at gauze fabrics, you'll often find that they are double cotton gauze and rarely triple cotton gauze, but you can find those as well. So this is the triple cotton gauze, and just to look at the fabric, if you're just looking and not handling it, it looks very similar to the double cotton gauze. But when you handle it, you can feel it's thicker and heavier, and that's because, quite simply, it's made from 3 layers of the single gauze and not 2 like the double. So this one is our Minerva Core range cotton triple gauze. It's made from 100% cotton. It's the same width at 130 centimetres or 51 inches approximately. And this one is 185 grams per square metre. So that puts it into our medium weight category. So like I say, it's just heavier in weight. And I don't think I mentioned with the double cotton gauze actually, because of those 2 layers, a layer of single cotton gauze would absolutely be see-through. But because you've got 2 layers together, it's not see-through. And that's the same with the triple cotton gauze as well. It's not see-through. And I think the main difference with this fabric, obviously, apart from the weight, is it has a little bit more body to it. It's not quite so drapey. And that just comes down to the thickness of the fabric, really. So, yeah, it's just an interesting option, having this triple gauze as an option on our site. And just depending on the style you're making, you might just want something a little bit heavier. With it being a core range, again, it comes in lots of different colours, so you've loads of choice on the site as well. Now, the next one I've got to show with you, so this is a double cotton gauze again, and this is a Minerva Core range. It's actually called our Bio Cotton Double Gauze. It's 100% cotton, the same weight and width as the first one I showed you. So it's 130 centimetres or 51 inches wide approximately, and 135 grams per square metre, which puts it in our light to medium weight category. But what's special about this one is this is actually an untreated cotton gauze, double cotton gauze. So it means it's not been bleached, it's not been dyed, it's just in its natural raw state. And to look at it, it has a look like a calico fabric. So if you've ever seen calico before, you know that sort of creamy colour with the little specks in it. It has that kind of look because it's untreated, undyed, unbleached, just in its natural raw state. And yeah, it has a very natural, earthy kind of look to it, which is, it's such a lovely effect to the fabric. Obviously, because of the nature of it, it just comes in the one colour, because that's what it looks like in its natural, raw, untreated state. And yeah, if you're just somebody that really loves the look of kind of natural earthy fabrics, I think you'll probably really love the look of this one. You could, of course, dye it and yourself if you wanted it in a different colour, and you'd still get those slight little speckles coming through. But yeah, I think there's something really special about it, just as it is this fabric as well. And then the next 3 fabrics I've got to share with you. So again, these are all double cotton gauzes, but they all have something a little bit special and a little bit different about them. So the first one is our Minerva Core range foil cotton double gauze. So this one is 100% cotton, 150 centimetres or 59 inches wide approximately, and 135 grams per square metre at light to medium weight. You'll see that kind of weight is very common with cotton gauze. They always usually fall into the light to medium weight category. A single cotton gauze would always very likely fall into the lightweight category, and a triple would very likely always fall into the medium weight category. So this particular fabric, I hope you can see the detail of that on screen, but it's 100% cotton double gauze, but it actually has this little foil spot design that's been applied on the surface, which is like a metallic gold colour. It's so pretty, and I think it's still like a plain fabric as such, but it's just elevated a little bit, something a little bit different about it. So if you like your plain fabrics but you just want something just a bit different. I think this is a really gorgeous option, and I think it has a slightly more elevated, slightly sort of more dressed up sort of feel, but still a very casual lived in sort of fabric. What's interesting about this one compared to probably all the others really we're looking at, is that because of this foil a sort of pattern or treatment that's been added on the surface, it does actually mean it's not quite so textured as some of the others that we're looking at. It's still got a textured, natural kind of looking sort of crinkled texture, but just not so much so, and that'll just be part of the process, you know, of when applying the foil detail, it'll have just taken some of the crinkled texture out. So yeah, it's just a little bit different really. This one again comes in loads of different colours on a site. I particularly love the navy with, you know, the gold speck on, but with loads of different colours, so do check those out. Then the next two fabrics, these are definitely going to be a bit hard to get across on camera because the detail, what makes these different, is very subtle. But if you do have a, you know, if you click through the links below this video to have a look at the ranges on the site, we do have close-up videos and photos when you scroll down on the product pages for these fabrics. So you'll be able to see, you know, the detail properly there. But they're subtle, these fabrics, but very, very special, I think. So this first one is our Minerva Core range check cotton double gauze. It's 100% cotton and approximately 125 grams per square metre, which again is light to medium weight. So again, if I hold that up, you'll be able to see, you know, it has all the same sort of qualities as, you know, that very first double cotton gauze I showed you. Light, billowy, breezy kind of texture. It has a crinkled surface texture to it, but what it has that's extra is a check design that is woven into the fabric. So it's not a different colour, it's just the way the threads have been woven. It actually creates this kind of grid on the surface. So yeah, it's really, really interesting having that texture with the grid. Very, very subtle, and just, yeah, again, something a little bit different. You know, again, if you love plain fabrics, but you know, you love the idea of just something a little bit extra, then this could be a really lovely option. Again, it's a core range that comes in tons of different colours on our website as well. And then the last sample I've got to share with you. So this is our Minerva Core range slub cotton double gauze, and this one is definitely one of my favourites. If you love texture, then you'll definitely love this fabric. So let's hold that one out. So this one again is made from 100% cotton, again is 130 centimetres or 51 inches wide approximately, and this one is actually 155 grams per square metre, which puts it just into our medium weight category. So it's a little bit heavier, you know, there's only a little bit of difference in it, but it is a little bit heavier than our other double cotton gauzes. And I think what that comes from is the fact that when you look up close with this fabric, you can see that it actually, a little bit similar to linen, it has slubs running through the weave. So that extra weight from that extra kind of thicker thread or yarn that's used to weave the fabric just adds a little bit extra to the weight of the fabric. So you've got the texture of it with it being a double cotton gauze, and then you've got the extra texture from this almost linen sort of look type slub that is woven into the fabric. It's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, again, if you love texture in fabrics, especially on something that's plain and, you know, where that texture just gives it a little bit of extra special something, then I think you will love this one. So you can see again when I hold this fabric up, you know, it's got that light, breezy kind of billowy sort of movement to it. Yeah, it's just absolutely stunning, and really this particular one is all about the texture on that fabric. Again, with it being a core range, it comes in lots of different colours for you to choose from as well. And I know we've looked at all plain fabrics there today, but on the Minerva website we do have loads of printed, patterned cotton gauzes as well, gauze fabrics as well. So there's loads of choice on the website. And remember, in your fabric guide, we do on all the 70 basecloth pages, we do put a QR code there, so you can scan that and go straight to, you know, in this case, the gauze fabrics on Minerva. So it just makes it really easy for you to find just the specific fabrics that you know, double page spread is talking about. So next, let's go on to some patterns. So like I said earlier, you know, with gauze fabrics, it suits a more relaxed style of garment that has, you know, a good amount of ease. You know, because it's light and breezy, you know, you generally wouldn't make anything too fitted or too structured of a garment with this type of fabric. So thinking things like tops, tunics, billowy blouses, swishy skirts, dresses, all that sort of thing. You know, something that suits a lived-in crinkle kind of look. So let's take a look at the patterns I've got. So the first sort of bunch that I've got are all top patterns. So we'll insert some images as we go through so you can see the patterns as I'm chatting about them. So the first one that I've picked is the Donny shirt from the Friday Pattern Company. And this is a boxy pull-on top that's, you know, designed to be kind of an everyday piece, you know, sort of like a workhorse in your wardrobe. It's a dartless top with a lapel collar and a patch pocket. And I think, for me, it's the type of top you'd pair it with, you know, jeans, leggings, a skirt, that sort of thing. Wear it every day. And I think the relaxed, crinkled, textured kind of lived-in look that you get from gauze would really suit that style of pattern. Next up, I've got something very simple, and this is the Ogden cami from True Bias. So I thought it's a good representation of, you know, if you just want a simple kind of like cami vest top, then, you know, you can absolutely do that in a cotton gauze like this. This one, you know, it's not super fitted. It's got a really lovely finish into the neckline and the armholes, with it's sort of like partially lined, so it's got really high-end finish to it, and it's just very simple, not too fitted, and yeah, again, I think that would really suit a cotton gauze beautifully. Next up, I've got the Minerva exclusive patterns Victoria blouse. So this pattern, we actually recommend in the pattern that you use a light to medium weight woven fabric with some drape. Now, obviously, cotton gauze doesn't have the drape, like the version I'm wearing is actually a Victoria blouse, and this is made in a viscose challis, which is very soft and drapey. So a double cotton gauze doesn't have the same amount of drapiness as that. However, I'd still say that it is drapey enough for a Victoria blouse, and it's just going to give it a slightly different feel, you know, slightly more boxy, but yeah, it would work equally well, and I think, you know, would have a very kind of relaxed vibe to it. You know, a piece that you could wear just in your everyday wardrobe. Yeah, and that gorgeous texture in the fabric would really sort of stand proud. And the next top pattern I've got is the Helga shirt from Tessuti Patterns. So this, you've two different views in this particular pattern, and I just love this sort of the uniqueness of the shape of that hemline. I think it has a very kind of unique kind of look to it that would really suit the relaxed vibe of a cotton gauze. It does have quite a few seams to it, which I would normally maybe say avoid with cotton double gauze. You know, you want something maybe a little bit more, you know, simple in style. But I think, you know, that's probably as far as I would go, that pattern, in terms of complicatedness of the style. You know, it's still relatively straightforward, but it's just that unusual hemline, the relaxed kind of oversized fit. Yeah, I think it would really suit the top cotton double gauze. The next three patterns I've got, these are all actually top and dress patterns all in one. So the first one is the Tilly and the Buttons Nell dress or blouse, and this is a button-up V-neck top or dress with lots of different options. So you've got a puff bow sleeve, a straight bracelet length sleeve, a short just plain sleeve, you've got little flutter sleeves, and then in the dresses you've got gathered options, you've got a peplum blouse, and then the other really fun feature with this pattern is you've got the little bows, so you can use, you can have it as a button up, or you can have a little bow tie, sort of like finished details. Yeah, and this pattern has an oversized fit sort of styling to it, and again I think in the double cotton gauze it would really suit that. It would create a very everyday wearable version of this pattern. I think the puff bow sleeve would work really well because the body that you do have in this fabric would hold that sleeve nicely, but likewise if you wanted the little flutter sleeve, equally that would work. So yeah, it will create a great everyday Nell dress or top. The next one, which was actually one of the first patterns I thought of when I thought double cotton gauze, yeah, the Stevie, absolutely, from Tilly and the Buttons. So this is a very easy to make, designed for beginner's pattern. So we have a tunic dress in there or a top, and it's a very boxy, very simple shape, just a simple round neckline, a tie at the back or a little button fastening. You can add a patch pocket on the front, but really there's not many details at all, and I think that's what really makes it suitable for a cotton gauze. If you're new to sewing this fabric, or you are just a beginner to sewing, then I think that would be a great combination. And still, with the breezy, light softness of this fabric, it is going to mean that the sleeves hang really nicely. It's going to create a lovely shape from that pattern. And then the next one I've got is the Callie shirt and shirt dress from Closet Core Patterns. So this particular pattern gives you a cropped shirt, a more tunic length, or a shirt dress as well. So you've lots of options in the one pattern. It's relatively simple, so it's a body skimming kind of silhouette, so it's certainly not super fitted, and that again suits the gauze fabric, and yeah, I think, well, with it's got a subtly curved yoke. It's got short dolman sleeves with little arm cuffs on them, and then this dramatically curved hemline. So there are quite a few details on this pattern, but overall, apart from that, the button placket, it's all quite simple and boxy and oversized. So again, I think it would really suit the gauze. Next up, I've got a bunch of dress patterns to share with you. So first up, we've got the Naomi dress from Style Art Patterns. So this is a V-neck dress that has pockets in the side seams. It's got side splits at the hem. It's a midi length, and then it has a 7/8 length sleeve, so it's almost a full length sleeve but not quite, and that draws in on elastic at the bottom of the sleeve, and I think that fabric drawing in, again, that would work really nicely on the cotton gauze, just drawing into those gathers. And then really the main sort of wow point about this pattern is the curved drawstring waistline that ties at the sides with bows. So what I love about that, I think, one, it's a very relaxed casual vibe, which again suits the cotton gauze, but as well, all that sort of the way it gathers in, I think will really suit the fabric, will suit the texture in the fabric, the softness of it. And I just love about this pattern that you could draw it in, more or less, just depending on how you're feeling on the day. Lots of us, our body weight fluctuates, doesn't it? So, just how you're feeling on the day, you could draw it in less or more. And I really like that about it. I think it makes it a very wearable everyday dress, which again, just suits the cotton gauze. The next dress I've got is the Nova midi dress, again from Style Art Patterns, and I thought this was a really lovely example of where I think gathers and tiers really suit cotton gauze. If you look at any of these product pages for the cotton gauze on Minerva, you'll see loads of makes by the Minerva sewing community where they've made things with gathers, and it just really suits this fabric. And apart from that, this dress is actually very simple, round neckline, sleeveless. It's all about the gathers and the tiers on the skirt section. So yeah, that would be lovely. And then the next dress I've got, so this is the Hope woven dress, again from Style Out Patterns. And yeah, again, this has that loose, relaxed, lived-in kind of style vibe to it. It's got a round neckline, raglan sleeves, these fabulous sleeves that again are the type that gather in on an elastic cuff. Which would really suit the softness again of the cotton gauze. It's got inseam pockets, and then you've got 2 different length options in this pattern. It's a little bit oversized and loose and boxy, and again that really leans into the the sort of style that suits this sort of fabric. The next pattern I've got is a caftan pattern. This is McCall's 8516, and this is a very as with caftans, they're loose, a little bit boxy, oversized, and yeah, I think a caftan is a great idea for cotton gauze. If you're going to be wearing that, perhaps you want to wear it around the pool, perhaps, or at the beach on holiday, but you just want something that's loose, easy breezy to wear. Cotton gauze would be fabulous for that, with it being, breathable and natural fibre. If you actually had a single cotton gauze, I think that would be lovely for this as well. Obviously, it'd be a little bit transparent, but that would be fine for a cover up around the beach, on the beach sort of thing. But yeah, obviously in a double cotton gauze, it's not going to be sheer. So, this caftan does have a few panels in it, but I think because of the nature of the style of the caftan, and those sort of, I want to say almost grown on sleeves, but it's almost like a grown on rectangle really, that hang down against the body. Those extra sort of panels would still work absolutely fine with the gauze, and just create a little bit of interest with the seams, those seam details, especially if you're going to be making it in a plainer fabric. The next pattern I've got is a jumpsuit. So this is the Norman jumpsuit from Style Out Patterns, and this is a V neckline both at the front and the back, and it has quite a low cut at the armhole, little sort of short straps over the shoulders. It has, I'd say, quite sort of loose, relatively wide legs, that are a little bit cropped. It has inseam pockets, which is lovely. And then the extra detail is the elastic, which is inside the garment, just at the centre back. And that just draws it in a little bit at the back, just to give a little detail. But yeah, as you can see from this pattern, it's very easy breezy kind of style, very relaxed. Again, I just think that will be so comfortable to wear in a double cotton gauze. The next pattern I've got is a skirt. So this is the Maeve skirt from True Bias, and this is a nice, easy, elastic waist skirt with a drawstring. It's got inseam pockets, which is lovely, and it does actually have an optional lining, but you wouldn't need that for the cotton double gauze. You can make it sort of with or without ruffles, and depending on the tiers that you add, you can make it different lengths. So yeah, it's another example of where I think tiers and gathers would really suit this sort of fabric. It's a very easy to wear, relaxed skirt again. So again, I think that would suit the cotton double gauze beautifully. And then the last pattern I've got to share with you, so I wanted to throw in, it's something I've not actually mentioned so far in the video, but cotton double gauze is actually really popular for baby and children's wear as well. The fact that it's lovely and breathable, the fact that it's natural fibre, and it's just often something that you do see in ready to wear as well. I think the lovely texture as well is just really pretty for children or baby wear. And then so this pattern I've chosen is New Look 6568. It's a baby pattern, so we've got a lovely dress or a lovely little jumpsuit on there, and there's actually a little jacket come cardigan, but a woven one. And I think for all 3 different styles in the pattern, a cotton gauze would be absolutely lovely for that. It'd be lovely, breezy and breathable to wear, nice and easy to wash and care for. Yeah, just something a little bit different to the jerseys and things that you often find in baby and children's wear. So I hope you found that interesting and inspiring. And it's you've sort of got more comfortable with what gauze fabric is, and that taking a look at some of the samples of some of the fabrics that we have here at Minerva, as it's just helped you sort of see the characteristics of the fabric, and also just what actually you can make with it as well, and what sort of styles suit double gauze. I do think it is one of those fabrics that if you choose the right pattern for the fabric, you can make an amazing garment, but if you choose something that maybe something too fitted or structured, it then doesn't necessarily make as successful a garment. So I do think it's one of those fabrics that it's just the pattern choice is important for it, but when you get it right, you can make an absolutely fabulous garment. So yeah, do let me know in the comments below, have you sewn with gauze fabric before? Have you sewn with single gauze, double gauze, triple gauze even? I'd love to hear from you. Tell me, what did you make? I always love to hear from you in the comments. Or are you somebody that's maybe never sewn with gauze before, and perhaps now you'd like to give it a try? Yeah, do let me know in the comments. As always in these videos, I will tag the fabric guide itself, all the patterns and all the fabrics that I've mentioned today. So if you want to, check out any more details, the prices, different colours available, in everything I've mentioned, then you'll be able to, just click on the links below this video on Minerva, and, you'll be able to explore all that information. And as always, the great thing with the Minerva website is, any makers in the community that have, made things in these fabrics or patterns, you'll be able to see their makes on the product pages, and it just helps bring the products to life, and helps you visualize what perhaps you could make, and it's always just really inspiring. So just to mention as well, at Minerva we do offer super fast free worldwide delivery. So wherever you're watching us from, we can send parcels of fabric joy out to you. We do offer a sample service on all our fabrics as well. So if you just want to, touch and feel and see the fabric in the flesh before you commit to buy, you can absolutely do that. We do offer all our fabrics in increments as well. So, you only need to buy the exact amount you need, so there's no wastage there. And we do offer a thread matching service on all our fabrics as well. So yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to chat about in today's video. I really hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to check out Jo's video that's coming to the channel later today, where she's going to be doing a deep dive into gauze, but from a how to sew with it point of view. And as you'll know from Jo's videos, they're always packed full of helpful tips and techniques and advice. There's always something new to learn with sewing, isn't there? So do check out that video later today as well. And yeah, for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back again very soon with the next base cloth from the Minerva Fabric Guide.